looks like oh, you're late, Tom.
I know.
And we got that on the tape too, so for the home office, Tom Davis is late. All right, I got 10:30, and we forgot to lock the door. And they're streaming in by the hundreds. All right, good morning. It is morning, still morning. Good morning. Well, I'm supposed to read this. Good morning. Welcome to the 47th CALLERLAB convention in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I can't talk. Today is Tuesday, April 12th. This is Digital Marketing. I am your name, Ted Lizotte, and I will serve as the moderator for this session. Really, I'm not going to have a lot to say in a minute. Our panelist today is the one and only, evidently, Ray Owens, and no one else. Before I turn it over to Ray, I will say I got to know Ray is originally from Tennessee and lives now in Ohio. He works very closely. If you get online at all and look for Central Ohio stuff, he does almost all, probably all of that. This stuff is on YouTube. He's going to get into a bunch of different things for you. Over the pandemic, we were lucky enough, or I don't know if we were smart enough, to put together a series called the Class Series, and Ray was very influential, and I got to know him via email because nobody went anywhere, right? And I had a great time with him, finally got to meet him, and he has a wealth of knowledge that I think from square dancing's perspective, we need to bring things into this century, you know, because the clothes aren't certainly coming that way anytime soon. So I'm going to be quiet for the most part. As soon as these late arrivers get in, and take their seats, and we'll be naming them by name later. Nice to have you. Thank you for coming. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, how about a nice hand for Mr. Ray Owens, and here you go.
Thank you. For those of you wondering why you've never seen me at a festival doing calling, is because I'm not a caller. I'm a web designer. Back in August, Ted asked me to come share some of the stuff that I do for square dancing with y'all here at CALLERLAB. This discussion originally started out as social media for marketing purposes, but I asked Teresa if we could slightly shift our focus away from the social media aspect of it and more into just pure digital marketing. While I was preparing for this discussion, I went out and I did a search for social media. I wanted to cover my bases and make sure that I was picking up the social media sites that maybe don't have the name recognition of Facebook and Twitter. I'm about the geekiest person I know, all right? All of my friends, all of my family and stuff, when it comes time to level 4 support, I'm the guy they call. They're going to go buy a new digital device, I'm the guy they call. What do I need to get? What do I need to do? I think I have a pretty good grasp of what's going on the internet until I did this search for social media, and it turns out I don't know a damn thing, okay? I pulled up the list, first off on the list, 101 social media sites that you need to be aware of in 2022. And I got to thinking, they whittled that list down. They took it down to 101 sites, and there were sites I had never heard of. There's a site that gets 640 million active viewers a month, and it's called QZone, and I never heard of them. That's because they're based in China, so I don't know anything about them. Then there's this site over here called Viber that gets another 250 million users a month, all right? The reason why I'm bringing up 101 social media sites is that nobody has time to monitor 101 media sites. You've got lives, you've got caller duties you have to go do, you've got everything else you have to go do. Nobody has time. So let's do it in the most efficient way possible. Let's whittle that list of 101 sites down to, unfortunately, one, Facebook. Right. I'm not a fan of Facebook, I'm really not. For privacy aspects and some personal political, I'm not a fan of Facebook. I have a Facebook page, I post to Facebook all the time because, for better or worse, that's where our users are. That's where the dancers are. That's where the clubs are. The majority of the people that that we want to market to, that we want to communicate with, they have Facebook page. Just like the bank robber, why do you rob banks? That's where the money is. Facebook is where our users are. Okay? Also, a good percentage of our potential dancers are on Facebook too. The demographics that we're trying to reach for square dancing, they're all on Facebook. So I have to grudgingly admit that Facebook actually does a pretty good job of reaching the people that we want to reach. When you come up with flyers, when you come up with digital flyers, when you want to talk about your upcoming dances and everything, you're going to go to Facebook, okay? So my recommendation is if you do not have a Facebook account, please go get one. And then be aware of every club and every event and every dancing venue within 500 miles of your house, because that's where you're going to get most of your jobs. That's where the people that are going to hire you are going to look. We have top 500 miles there. I'm guessing most of you work hand in hand with local clubs when it comes time for beginner classes. There's a site called Meetup. Meetup, yeah. MEETUP.com. It's nothing more than a collection of every imaginable interest that a person can have. They're all out there. There are countless dance forums with people looking for a place to dance, learning to learn how to dance or so. It's a tremendous tool for targeting messages saying, why don't you want to try out square dancing, okay? I know of one club in the Cleveland, Ohio area. They posted one message to one meetup group and they got 50 new dancers to their class. One, all right? Now, unfortunately, meetup results are all over the board. For every success story I've heard, like the one in Cleveland, I hear some of just complete failure, that meetup doesn't do anything for them. Yes, sir?
Fail.
Failed? Yeah. Oh, yeah, exactly. It seems to be an even match of absolute success and absolute failure. So my advice to that, and in all the social media that I'm going to touch on, even if I tell you I don't think it's a good idea, don't let that stop you from giving it a try, all right? The beauty of social media, at least the digital media and stuff, is it doesn't really cost a lot in monetary terms, if anything, especially Facebook, that's all free or so. All it's going to cost you is your time, which is why you don't want to stick with 101 sites, because who has time to do 101? So let me give you a list of the most popular social media sites that, in my opinion, are not effective for square dancing, okay? And the reason why I don't think they're effective, I'm sorry, Eric, did you have a question?
Is Meetup free?
Meetup is free to join, and it depends on some of the groups that you get, whether they accept paid advertising. Most of it is free, that you can post something in there, but there's a lot of restrictions on some of the groups where they don't want advertising. There's just a group for discussions and stuff. So you kind of have to build it, get in there, become a member, kick some ideas back and forth, feel out the moderator to see if they're okay with you posting something about, would you like to come to our dance, kind of thing. Does that answer your question, sir? Okay. Anyway, back to my list of sites that I think are not effective, and mostly my opinion on these is because there's no square dancers using them now. Generally, the demographics don't match. A lot of these sites are targeted for young adults and teenagers, 25 and below, and that's not necessarily our demographic that we're looking to pull in here. So, first off, must not have pulled this one up. Instagram. Now, the concept is good. Take a picture, take a video, post it, all right? As a photographer, you see my cameras and stuff here, you've seen me around taking pictures of everybody. As a photographer, I like the idea of it, of being able to do it. The problem is, from a computer geek aspect of it, you cannot post to Instagram from your computer. So if I drag all the photos and stuff into Photoshop or different editing things to make them look prettier or so, then I have to put them back in my phone to upload them to Instagram. So it's not practical for me. And Instagram is another one that targets mainly the 25 and under crowd. Twitter. In my opinion, Twitter is mostly a bunch of angry people hollering at a bunch of angry people on the other side. Now, yes, sir.
So, keep going now.
If I could, with just a second, I'm sure you guys have gone to a panel before today. Remember that we're supposed to put the questions on the microphone, so I'll either have to repeat them if we don't want to walk around because it's dark and scary, or whatever. So make sure that we've got the time. So just say that. All right, thank you.
There's another aspect of Twitter, though, which does come in pretty handy. Let me tell you this story here. Back in 2015, I rode a bicycle from California to South Carolina. Right? And I had about 200 people, family and friends, that were following my journey as I went across. And what I used Twitter for, and what it excels at, is coming along and posting pictures of what I was doing, where I was going, where I was at a given time. You can do the similar thing, especially if you're doing a lot of traveling. It's basically a timeline for your website. You take your pictures and stuff, post it right away, post your videos, those folks that are not there at your dance. Twitter excels at this kind of stuff, and you stay out of all the discussions and crap that ticks everybody off all the time. Well, then there's TikTok, which I also didn't pull up here. TikTok, to me, seems to be a bunch of 15 seconds videos. Usually it's young women showing you the purchases they've made, and it's young men on skateboards trying to kill themselves. And all of it's backed up by really bad rap music, every one of them. So there's no square dancers on TikTok, there really isn't. Then there's something called WhatsApp. WhatsApp got bought by Facebook a few years ago for several $1 billion. It's a group instant messenger. They have 1 billion users a month, so they claim. And I don't know a single soul that's ever posted a single message on it. I have a 30 and 40-year-old daughter. They've never used it. So I don't know who's using this, but again, it's not square dancers. Yes, ma'am.
I don't have a mic. You can repeat if you want to.
Okay, I'll do it.
Use it to communicate with people in other countries.
Yeah.
It's a text that's easy for them to use with us.
Absolutely. What your statement was is that WhatsApp is especially good for communicating with people in other countries or so. I'm assuming you can set up a group, so if you want to get away from Google Groups or something like that, you could use WhatsApp to accomplish the same thing. I just don't see a lot of square dancers doing that. Do you? No, I don't think so. Now, there's a couple of social media sites that I really have little to no experience with, but I'm going to bring them up anyway. One of them is called Nextdoor. This is a neighborhood app. It kind of goes by zip code and by physical neighborhoods or so. And it's a good way of letting folks in your neighborhood know what's going on in your neighborhood or so.
I have experience with it.
Tell me about it.
It's,
Well, I'm sorry. I'm going to make Ted run.
Just say, tell me what's going on. State your name and what.
Richard Marder, Ann Arbor, Michigan. So I'm in next door Arbor Woods, and within a 10 square mile geographical area, it is extremely highly effective for communicating with lots of people. At least anyone else who's on next door, which seems to be a lot of people. And I've sold things on there. It's like communicated messages about like problems with kids stealing things from our yards, and then problems stopped, and stuff like that. So if within that area, it's a good place to recruit for dances or something like that, from having the dance downtown, like 3 or 4 miles away.
Have you had any success in marketing square dance classes to Nextdoor?
I haven't tried yet.
I did.
And how did it go back there? Well, hang on. Let Ted get you the mic.
Bonnie Harry from Washington State. I did put some class information on our next door neighborhood website. I think I got about 4 or 5 people that asked me questions, and I think maybe one person came. I don't think they followed through with the class, but at least we did have some activity on there.
And did you try it more than once? Did you do any sustained, let's try this 4 or 5 or 6 times and see what happens?
I did not. I just kind of did it as a favor to our club and, just to see if it would work. It was right before the pandemic, so.
Okay, good, thank you. That, by the way, is the secret to advertising over and over and over again. Some results I've read, most people will not pay attention to advertising until they've heard it for the 25th time, okay? back to the cost of most of the social media, there is not one in terms of dollars, it's just your time. So if you have the time to put up a sustained marketing campaign for this, it may be worth your while. Now let's talk about Pinterest. Pinterest demographics are typically 80% female. All right? But if you think about it, it's the ladies that we should be marketing to. Because they're going to be, in the traditional couple, they're going to be the ones that make the decision whether to come to a square dance class or not. It's not going to be the guy. even if the guy is the one that found it, he's not going to come home and go, honey, I'm going to go dance with other women for 4 weeks or so. Are we good with that, you know?
If you want to repeat this, one of the clubs that I call for, 75% women.
Yeah, well...
Because we take singles.
I know Tony Oxendine has talked before about dancing in Japan, where it's almost all women. The men are doing this, but the women all come and dance and everything. So Pinterest also has the extra benefit that it doesn't target necessarily to the 25 and under crowd. There are all ages, a lot of them approaching the demographics of what we're looking for. You can say something. Don't. Just looking at me expectantly. All right, so we've been talking about active social media sites. How about a couple of passive ones? We're going to talk about YouTube and Google Photos. All right? Pictures and videos are key to the web because the web is a visual medium. You want to show your story. You don't want to tell your story. There's nothing that's going to turn off a web visitor faster than coming to a website and seeing a bunch of text. They don't do that. I want to see pictures. I want to see pictures and videos of people with smiling faces, and that's what I want to see on a website. Yesterday, when I was in here doing a discussion on web design, what I recommended to the callers who attempted or to attend the discussion, go out and spend $30 on a tripod. That tripod right there cost me, I think, $30 off of Amazon. It's not the best quality, but it does what it needs to do. Take your cell phone when you're at a dance, mount your cell phone on the tripod and point it at yourself, and then do copies of your videos. Put them on YouTube. Put them in a playlist and put them on your website. This is Jack Platty's website. I'm his webmaster. When I'm at a dance with Jack, I take my equipment, I record him, and then I put it in his playlist, and you see right now he's got 98 different videos that are out there. For those people that don't know Jack Platty's and maybe want to hire Jack, they can come to his site, look at his videos, and see him in action. All right, and that's what you should be doing for marketing purposes, is put the videos out there. If a picture's worth 1,000 words, video's got to be worth 1,000,000 words. Okay? Photos and stuff. Now I realize you're busy, you're calling, you don't have anything to do. If you don't have a partner that you can bring with you to take pictures, ask your dancers to do it. While they're sitting out a tip, ask them, hey, can you take a couple of snapshots and email them to me? Or hand them your phone or your camera or something. That device that's sitting there is nothing more than a camera phone. It's a Galaxy S7. You can buy them for $75 off of eBay. You can hand that to a dancer and say, go crazy. Take a bunch of pictures. If they break it, it's $75 a crying out. And it has a world-class camera to it. When I build a caller website like Jack's, when I build a club website like my Columbus Square Dance site, what I want to put on it is what I mentioned just a minute ago. Pictures of people smiling. Okay, like Tom back in the back. Pictures of people having a good time. New visitors that are coming to your website, they may not have a clue what we're doing out there, but it looks like these people are having fun. And their mental attitude is, I'd like to have some fun. I would like to join these people. This is your marketing thing. I don't have to put one single word out there. Those people are having a good time, and it shows by the smiles on their faces. Okay, let's get around to a couple of other marketing things. Yesterday, there was a discussion before mine on using email marketing, particularly with MailChimps and Google Groups. email has become so polluted with spam that its effectiveness has dropped through the floor. All right. I use both MailChimp and Google Groups for specific targeted kind of campaigns that I want to do. And I've just made it what's called the open rates, all right? You can't track something like that with Google Groups, but you can with MailChimp. With MailChimp will tell you every time this individual opened that email and give you the times that they opened it, okay? So you can track it like that, and I get a warm and fuzzy feeling when I have a 60% open rate, all right? And generally it's lower than that. And these people subscribe to the list voluntarily. And the same with the callers and stuff. The callers who have email distribution lists. The open rates are horrible. You have to remember, if they don't open the email, they're not reading what you're sending to them, okay? So if you want to get somebody's attention, in this day and age, you got to use text messages, okay? This is an app that I use for my real job. I own a massage therapy business in Columbus, and we contact our clients through messaging. But also for the big sites that I build, the state of Ohio site, the Georgia site, Indiana, all the other sites that I build like that need to communicate a lot with their dancers, do it through text. Now, it's going to cost you. This program right here only works on a platform called WordPress, for those of you that are familiar with designing a website. It costs, just to have the program, it costs $65 a year, but it's worth every penny of it. You have to subscribe to a service. It happens to be called Twilio. You don't need to remember that. But that'll run you about a penny a message. But think about it. If you got 200 people on your text messaging service, 95% of those people are going to open that message within 3 minutes of receiving it. 95% is the average open rate on a message or so. So out of those 200 people you have on your list, 190 of them are going to open it right away. If you get just one more person to come to your dance, you made the $2 back that it cost you to send the message. And having a cost to the messages kind of acts as a limiting factor. Part of the problem, I think, with email is we send too damn much of it to everybody. And they just get sick of it after a while. And I don't even bother reading it, or I'll read it later because he doesn't have anything good to say this time. But text messaging, that signals urgency. I need to look at this and see what's going on. Okay? I use the text messaging for my Columbus Square Dance site, for example, for dance notifications when there's been a significant change to the dance. The caller got sick at the last minute. We got a last minute venue change. We're not going to call SDS, we're going to call Challenge 4. You know, those kind of things. Now, there's a variety of text messaging services out there. You don't have to take my suggestions for it, but consider, basically, the bottom line, send a text message if you want a response. Send an email if it's not going to be the end of the world that the recipient doesn't read what you wrote. If it's just a nice, friendly newsletter, send them an email, it won't cost you anything. All right, let's talk about our marketing materials. In a nutshell, they suck.
Don't be bashful.
Yeah. Let me tell you how I really feel about them, all right? When we do flyers, they're amateurish at best. And to be completely fair, it's because we have amateurs doing them, all right? They're doing the best they can. I get it, I do. But the problem is, we bitch and we moan about how difficult it is to attract new dancers to our activity, but have you looked to see what we're using to do this? We're using clip art from the 70s and old stick figures and things like that. We're competing to take away a portion of the most precious thing that a human being has, and that's their time. And we are competing against every other time that they want to give to somebody else. And we're also competing against Hollywood. And we're competing against Madison Avenue with their slick ad budgets and their professional looking stuff. Unfortunately, at square dancing, we don't have unlimited budgets. You know, we can't compete on Hollywood's budget. We can't compete on Madison Avenue budget. So we have to use the tools that are most cost effective to us that will also deliver professional looking things. And that's why I'm here on Canva's site, canva.com. Canva not only does flyers, which is what I use them for the most part, they also do postcards and business cards, whatever they see what they're saying, flyers and A4 documents, and I mean, they do all kinds of stuff, but I use them primarily for flyers. You do not need to have any graphic design experience whatsoever to use Canva, none. It's a drag and drop kind of thing, and they give you about a zillion templates to use stuff in. So start with one of their templates and start replacing text on there. It is brain dead simple to use, and it's free. It won't cost you anything. Now, they do have a paid option. It is a business. They're trying to make money too. So within some of the elements of it, you will see that you can only use this particular icon or something like that if you give them a couple of bucks or so. But you don't have to. I have never paid them a dime, and I've probably generated 1,000 different flyers from there. Let me see if I can pull up some. There's one. Let's see if it pulls up. No, thank you, computer connection. Yeah, there we go. This is just a quick down and dirty I did as a New Year's Eve dancer show. It's on black, it's elegant looking colors, it's got neon looking face and stuff, and it looks so much better than the clip art from the 70s and all, okay? Now again, this is a throwaway one dance kind of thing. I didn't spend a lot of time. I bet that took me 5 minutes to build, all right? And I didn't design, I simply dragged elements in there that they already had in the template or so. It's really very, very simple to use. Let me see, here's one I'm doing for next year's General Butler. We'll see how long it takes to pull this one up. Now, the thing that took me the most time in putting this thing together was finding the collar pictures and stuff and sticking them on there. Okay? But in the background, it's tough to see, but in the background, I used an image of dancers back there instead of a nice white background or so. I'm not a fan of paper flyers. I like electronic stuff. Then I'm a computer geek, so I like to put stuff online, and I get complaints from folks going, well, if I print out that damn black flyer, Tom Davis tells me this all the time. He said, I run one and my ink cartridge is gone, you know? I'm not designing them for printing, I'm designing them for the web and everything. When you're done designing something in Canva, it will give you the option to download a PDF file so that you can take it to the printer if you want. It'll even put little print tick marks in it if you wanted to. And you can also download it in a PNG and a JPEG kind of file or so for posting on places like Facebook. And you don't have to redesign it for that, it just automatically does it for you. This is an excellent tool to up your flyer game, or at least pass along to the clubs to up their flyer game. If you've got an event coming out, go to Canva. You really cannot beat that for marketing purposes. Let's see here. This is my design website. This is squaredancetech.com. And I know I'm not supposed to talk about my own products, but I couldn't figure out any way to show you the examples I'm taking here. In thinking about how our marketing materials are not up to par, I started coming up with some digital flyers. Okay. I think they should be just like advertisements, between 30 and 90 seconds long. You want to make it eye-catching. You want to make people want to watch it. You want to perhaps pair it up with music that isn't necessarily square dancing music. It's such a trite saying about thinking out of the box, but let me show you some examples of what I'm talking about here. This is, I went out, there's a website that has a zillion different movies. They got them all, and TV shows and stuff, and I pulled clips down from all of these movies, and I built this for the Evansville convention.
Are you going?
Going.
I'm going. I'm going. Everybody's going. She's going. I'm going.
She's going. I'm definitely going.
Come on.
Jeez. Where you going?
Where are you going?
Indiana.
Indiana. I gotta go to Indiana.
Oh, Indiana.
So people are going to watch it because they see a bunch of movie stars and stuff, and if they have the sound turned off, they don't know what's going on, so they'll turn it on, and they'll listen to it, and they'll watch it. And at the very end of the video, if it'll let me scroll all the way there, And you probably recognize this is Royal Dance from Royal Records. Tony let me use his music to do kind of stuff like this, and backing music. So, and the tagline is in your face. You know, hey, come hang out with cool kids and that kind of thing, okay? Let's see. This is another one that I built for Indiana. It's not traditional square dance music. But those cubes are mesmerizing. You just want to watch it. And for no other reason to go, oh, I know that person. I've seen that person. I don't ever want that person in my square again. You know? So you watch it all the way through, and see, that's the key to it. I got somebody to watch my advertisement for the Evansville committee, or the convention coming on. Let's see. Oh yeah, you guys will like this one. Anyway, it's another mesmerizing block kind of thing. You're looking at it to go, I don't want to call that guy anymore either, you know. It was Jack Platty's, and I forget who else was calling with him or so, but that was, I filmed that at the Jackson Convention, and I just used the soundtrack to power that thing. But it's unconventional. Again, it gets you to watch the thing so that you watched my ad. You wanted to watch my ad. Let's look at this one here. Oh yeah, this one is just so over the top that I don't think people knew what to do with this. Yeah, that's what I did. In a world. to, like I said, I used every editing filter trick I knew to pull that one out. Let's just see how nuts we can make this look, which is kind of what I did there. It's available on the Square Dance Tech site. I can customize it for your club or your event or site. It won't cost you anything. I'll simply change the end titles and stuff and put your contact information. I've got a lot of marketing videos like that on Square Dance Tech where I will help you recruit new dancers and stuff. There's a couple, let me get back over here real quick, under promotional videos. There's some you can't customize, these kind of things, but there's some down here. Here we go. These are 30-minute long videos, and what a club in St. Mary's, Ohio did, they got a gig at the local mall. They were able to put a booth in the local mall, didn't cost them anything. All they did was stick a video monitor out there, and they ran these two 30-minute videos back to back just for days on end, and they just got all kind of response. And this is the kind of stuff that I can customize for clubs in your area, or you're the caller on record or so, and you're the one running the club, the caller run club. I can do this kind of stuff, and again, it doesn't cost anything. I'll send it to you through Dropbox or something like that. They're big files.
Dr. Sue,
Yes,
why
sir.
do you do this for free? You said no cost to the
The
club?
question at hand from Mr. What was your name, sir?
Eric Underlaw was asking, why do I do this for free? It's because I love square dancing.
Wow, cool.
The job that I have, again, I own a massage therapy business, but I have a lot of free time in between checking people in and out. So I can do things like this, all right? Back in, life took me out of square dancing for about a quarter century. And when I got back into it, I was dismayed that square dancing didn't keep up. If there were websites out there, they were poorly designed. There was no e-commerce. I couldn't register online for anything. So it ticked me off, quite frankly. It really ticked me off. I'm diverging for just a little bit. Let me show you one of the first sites I did. This is called weavethering.com. This is my square dancing online registration form. If you registered for the Jackson Convention online or the Evansville Convention online, you did it through my site, Weave the Ring here. There's Ray Wiles back there. Ray and I have just worked on getting the deal for Michigan, is doing their registration through here. Back there they are right there. Jack Patty's Rock and Dance Fest. There's the Evansville, all the Ohio conventions. Georgia is now doing it. Indiana's doing it. I think they're on the next page because it's in chronological order. Buddy Weaver's Dream Trip. All of this is being done online registration. Y'all don't have to know a thing about how to do e-commerce. I got that down, and I can do that for you, per se. But that's when I got back into square dancing, nothing like this was available. So I built it all, okay? And then in looking at websites, because they are the visual medium of the internet, you have to have visuals, you have to have pictures, you have to have video. And nobody was doing that either. So in the last, 5 years, I've probably spent close to $60,000 investing in video equipment, website bills, servers and stuff like that, so that I can help bring square dancing into the 21st century. Thus my tagline on there about, I've lost my own site, but anyway, on Square Dance Tech, it says, helping bring square dancing into the 21st century. Because that's where our next generation of dancers are going to come from. Okay? Yesterday, I mentioned about creating websites. Make sure that you develop them with a mobile screen in mind, because our next generation of dancers do everything on their phones. More than 60% of the traffic on the internet now is done on a mobile device. Okay? So we have to cater everything that we do to the mobile screens and the next generation of dancers who are fluent with online stuff. Something like, I think the last statistic I read is 56% of the people 65 and over have bought something online, and almost universal for 50 and under. They can't imagine not being able to pick up my phone, buy a couch, and have it delivered in 2 hours. Send a check? What is a stamp? What is an envelope? They don't know that, and that's the generation we're trying to get. So we have to do the online stuff for them and for no other reason, okay? A lot of the videos that I showed you, I use a software called Adobe After Effects. I will be honest with you, I understand about 1% of it. It's a complicated program, and I wind up being a recipe follower. The guy who wrote the script that I'm going to use, I'm doing what he tells me to do, and then I know enough about Adobe to be able to go in and figure it out or so. But in the 5 years I've been doing this, I've probably gathered 25 to 30,000 pictures in my library. Just this week, I bought a new 10 terabyte hard drive. And I moved over the existing video that I have, and I filled up half of it. 5 terabyte of video. I've got that with just me and Ted this weekend, you know. So for a lot of the stuff that I create, I already have the quote-unquote raw material to do this, and I realize that not everybody else has to do that. What I'm saying is that I realize that you can't do that, so maybe, Board of Governors guy, this might be something that CALLERLAB can perhaps offer to its members, because you need to up your marketing or so. So perhaps some kind of marketing liaison and a reach out and give you guys discounted prices on producing these kind of things. If you can spend $50 on something like that and help draw in another 100 people to your event, well, you know, that's $50 well spent or so. Okay? And I'm not advocating hiring me, I'm too damn busy. Okay, forget it. That's it. Any questions? Yes, sir.
I have a couple. One quick one.
Hold on, sir. I'm old, it takes me a while to get there.
It's all around.
Yes, Richard Marner again. This is what I wanted to mention about Twitter. You said we should, like, Twitter's in the don't use column, unless we have like photos and stuff. I heard somewhere that the websites are more likely to get higher ratings from Google if you have a link on Facebook and on Twitter. So just for the purpose of getting higher ratings from Google, should we have Twitter?
I don't agree with that. That doesn't mean I'm right. I don't agree with that. What Facebook is looking for is relativity when they do a search. But then they start knocking websites down for things like being mobile friendly. If you don't have a mobile friendly site, you get downgraded. If you don't have things like a secure server certificate on your website, you get downgraded by Google or so. There's a website, let me see if I can find it right quick.
So does Weebly allow you to create a mobile-friendly website now?
Yes.
They do now.
It does, yeah, I believe they do.
Because I have a website, and when I designed it, Weebly did not at that point have a mobile-friendly version.
Well,
you could create.
they're probably getting hammered by Google's algorithms also, so they're going to have to conform to it. This site here is a site called GT Metrics. You don't need to remember this, but when I build a website, I bring it here and I test my website, and then it'll run Google's analytics on my site, and I'm looking for a grade of A on here. I ran what's the next convention after Evansville? Milwaukee? No, Mobile. Mobile gets an F on their website or so because it's not designed for mobile. It's too much information to load or so, and because Google's looking at it from a mobile device to access it, it takes too long. They get downgraded tremendously. So as far as Facebook and Twitter, that really, in my opinion, that doesn't factor too much into Google's analytics. They want to know how fast the page loads, how mobile friendly it is, to have a secure server certificate, and those kind of things.
Okay, that's really helpful. The other thing really quickly, I call for several clubs, but there are no clubs in Ann Arbor or FC anymore. There used to be several. And I could probably get like maybe 3 or 4 or 5 people to be angels. I doubt if they'd help me advertise. So putting flyers on telephone poles is not an option. Almost everything I'm going to have to do is going to have to be done digitally.
Absolutely, yeah,
Online.
yeah. And it's the most effective way of doing it too. The old newspaper, radio, TV, nice if you can get them, but nobody's watching network TV anymore. Everybody's watching cable, so newspapers, nobody reads newspapers anymore. The internet's almost put the newspaper industry right out of business. You know, every once in a while you'll get a special on a TV show, you got an anniversary coming up. I've seen some of those, but it doesn't reach the public consciousness. Again, my grudging admiration for Facebook, so far, it's the tool that does the best of anything that we have currently available right now. Now, there are a lot of competing social media sites, Gab, Gitter, I'm drawing a blank or so. They have a fraction. Facebook has approximately 1.2 billion visitors a day. The upstart Facebook competitor on that, I think they get 1.2 million visitors a day. 1/1000th of the visitors are there. There's just nobody there yet. And it's a chicken and egg thing. Do we get people or do we, build a site? So I don't know what to answer. Stick to Facebook right now, I'm afraid. Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Michael Braithwaite from Germany. Are there any legal aspects if putting, say, like videos and taping on your own website regarding the music, and even maybe taking pictures or having dancers there with their pictures of the internet?
Quite a bit. Most of the pictures that I take, they're in a public venue, and in the registration forms, they've usually signed some kind of waiver, or it's clearly stated that you may be photographed or videographed at this event. If you don't wish to incur that, don't come, is kind of what it says. As far as using music and stuff, when I go and video round dancers, there's some songs that come up right away. I know, just turn my camera off right now, because YouTube isn't going to let me post it. YouTube has a copyright strike system. They've got tens of millions of songs in their database, and all they simply do is measure what I'm uploading versus what's in their library to see if the audio matches. And if it does, I'm liable to get hit by a copyright violation. Because so many people upload music to video, just a minute ago we were dancing here with Buddy Weaver's last thing, and if it had been a popular song and I had taped it and uploaded the video, I probably would have hit by a copyright violation. But what most of the copyright holders do for YouTube is they simply take the advertising revenue that I would have earned off of that. Now there's something called a copyright strike. Garth Brooks is notorious for this. If there's a Garth Brooks song loaded up to YouTube, he'll go after your channel. Toby Keith is another one. I know if I hear those songs at a dance, don't even bother recording them. I can't post them anywhere. So, but that's a more serious thing. I've never had one of those, but I frequently get copyright violations, and they take. I'm not making any money off my YouTube channel. I don't have enough visitors and stuff. But they simply take the advertising revenue and they give it to the copyright owner. Okay. I've had, out of all of the hundreds of hours that I've recorded, I've had, I count on one hand, I've had 3 people come up to me and says, I don't want my picture online, I don't want my video online, I don't care that I signed for them, I don't want to be on there. Absolutely. I'm not going to be a dick about this, I'll do my best to not put you in a picture, and I'll even go so far as to edit video to make sure that individual doesn't show up on there. And I remember them. I had one guy write me, he wanted his picture taken down over an event that I took 5 years ago. Okay, all right, I got no problem with that. I'm not going to make people mad. Most of the dancers, they like, after a dance, even though they'll go out there and they'll look at themselves and they'll go, oh, that's terrible. But that one looks just like you. They really want to see pictures of themselves and stuff, so I don't run into that. Children, I know you didn't bring this up, but children, I never put children on video or a picture unless I specifically ask the parent if it's okay to do so. There's no rule, there's no law about that. Let's go the extra step of protecting the kids from anything. So if mom and dad tell me it's okay, I'll do it. But other than that, I never, even if I will waste a whole video if I have some child that I didn't talk to their parents. I'll just dump it and go on to something else. So does that help? Did that answer?
Yeah.
I'm going to reiterate, as somebody who puts up videos on Facebook as well for my music and so forth, I get the copyright thing more lately than I used to years ago. And it's ironic because it's not even the original song. Like, I'll put up a pattern record that I've made out of the original song. And evidently it's close enough that YouTube goes, no, there's a copyright. But similarly, that they're still there. So I wouldn't advocate that you can't. It's basically, they're just going to say you can't make any money off of this. Well, I'm not trying to, so you're not bothering me, and I'll just continue to go. I've tried to go the route of, with my own pattern music that I bought the licensing for, and tried to fight with them. One small guy, it ain't worth my time and trouble. They listen to me, once, and they're like, yeah, we're not moving it. I'm like, okay. As long as they don't take it down, I'm fine with it. So you can use the music, you can get out there and use it, even if you're trying it for the first time. I know I panicked the first time it happened, but everything still stays there. You just can't make money.
I did one that I had Tony Oxenide's music, Royal Records music. I asked Tony before I did it, can I use your music for that? I want to stay on good terms with the people who produce music, produce works. They need to be entitled to every penny that they earn from their works, and I have no problem with that. And if they don't want me to use it, I won't use it. I'll go find something else to do. So I'm very respectful of other people's copyrights. Let me tell you a Wade Driver story about how he bit my ass one time. See, it was the Atlanta convention. We were doing a special dance on the overpass that went over 285 or something. There was some kind of special bridge. And we threw a bunch of dancers out there. And they threw me in a lift. So if y'all went to it, I was the guy waving at you. That was me, okay? And I videoed the thing, and I took Wade's, I bought the record, I bought Fireball, and I put it to the video, and I posted it to YouTube, and I didn't ask him. But I saw him at the dance that night, and I said, Wade, this is what I did. May I get your permission? And he said, no, hell no. Don't use my music without my permission. And he proceeded to chew my ass for 5 minutes, and every bit of it was deserved. Because he's the copyright holder. He's deserved every music that he got, every penny that he could get from me. He told me, take that video down right now. Yes, sir, I will be happy to do that. I'm sorry I bothered you. Please don't hit me, But then, a second later, he turns and he goes, wait a minute, you're not making any money off this? No, sir, not a penny. I'm doing it for the convention. He goes, don't ever do that again. Yes, sir, I promise, never again. So, any other questions? Comments? Dances? I can't call, so I wouldn't do anything. Mr. Moderator, what do we do here?
Well, if nobody else has anything to say, you'll probably have a comment sheet somewhere else along the line. Obviously, Ray proves we've got a long way to go, right? And the fact that you even came here to look is a start. You know what he does online is at least an example. Try to get out there and move ourselves forward. It's only going to help us. So how about a nice hand for Mr. Ray Owens? If you see him later on with a camera, you're going to be on the internet. So get used to it. And I'm sure he'll be more than happy to answer any other questions if they come up later over the next day or so. So thank you very much for your attendance. That's the way out. Don't trip on anything in the dark. We'll see you at lunch.
I get it. But I mean, I'm going to give it.